I'm that cool. Can't school me, I must school self-taught.
What's up guys? Right now I'm on my way to the Military Aviation Museum. I think I'm gonna be riding some biplanes or a triplane, or maybe I can ride a fighter jet. Right now we're on our way there. I'll hit you guys up in a little bit. So I just got here. I'm supposed to be flying in 15 minutes. Is this gonna be scary?
No. No, it's gonna be really fun. You're gonna have a great time.
My first time. Oh, can I ride that one too? The small one?
That one's actually one of the pilots, that's how he gets to work.
Yep. What?
Yep.
Oh, I just gotta fly into work. Ready? Can I bring these or?
Yeah, no, you just gotta hand them off before you get in. Otherwise, they're gonna drop it. All right. Other than that, have a good flight.
Thanks. I'm scared.
Don't be scared. You're gonna have fun. Boom's gonna take care of you.
Oh damn! We forgot to rig a shoot up.
Is it an ejectocito?
Ejectocito, cuz!
I mean, yeah, but if you don't have a chute, so.
I'll hold on to this and glide down.
Yeah, square footed, right?
He gets the cool helmet, whatever. So keep it right here.
So much weight.
It's gonna be insane. To the inside of the plane.
All right, hand me your little fancy doodads.
So cool.
There you go. It's a good flight.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was waiting for the roll. Thank you, though. That was so good. That was amazing.
Shooting?
Yeah, you look cool.
So overdoing it, huh? Not when you're doing that.
That was so fun.
Yeah, it was.
When he did like a pitch, what do you call that? Like a
Or
hard
turn?
pitch or a turn or whatever. Yeah, I felt like I was gonna.
What was your favorite part of the? Was it just the scenery? Or?
Just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, definitely. There's a warplane over there that I want to ride.
Oh yeah.
You know, he told me a lot of stories too.
Oh, Boom's
that
got
was
the
fun.
best stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was telling me about that green building over there that was brought brick by brick.
The Gox Hill Tower. First control tower that America had over in England for World War II. It's like a huge piece of history that we have.
This is RAF Gox Hill. So this is a British air tower that was built in the build-up to World War II. So it was built by the British in the UK, but it was also the first airfield turned over to the Americans when the Americans were brought into the fight. So this is the literal building. They took it brick by brick down in the UK, brought it over here and reconstructed it. It's got a lot of unique features, such as it's built with bricks But they didn't use mortar, they used concrete. Out of all the buildings that you want to be in during one of the hurricanes, this is probably one of the safest ones you could be in. So this is supposed to be a reconstruction showing what World War I era hangar would look like. And it's pretty accurate in that World War I hangars, if they were a building at all, were warehouses. Mostly World War I hangars would be whatever they can put together. Canvas tents, open outdoors. This is where we house our World War I aircraft.
And this is cool. You sit right there.
Most of the planes now, they pull it.
Yeah.
But the engine propellers actually was behind him. And so he literally was pushed off of the aircraft carrier.
It's the feature aircraft on our program in our posters for this year's event, the Curtiss Pusher. But what really makes it special is that it kind of reminds us that aviation history took place even here in our own backyards. So this was the first aircraft to launch off a ship, you know, kind of igniting that era of aircraft carriers. That happened right here in Hampton Roads. And that was 1910. That was first landing on a ship. So that was done when it flew across and landed in San Francisco. Obviously this plane was the first one to launch off a ship. As you can imagine, it was not an aircraft carrier because there was no such thing. So it was off the USS Birmingham, a Navy cruiser. As soon as people were able to fly, they were trying to figure out how to fly off stuff.
What year was the Wright brothers?
Wright brothers 1903. So
this
7
is
years. 7 years. It didn't take them more than 10 years to say, hey, we can get a bird up in the air. Let's go ahead and see if we can launch it off a boat. And Hampton Roads still carries a great number of aircraft carriers, so the history is still with us.
So will this still fly, or?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, Boom flies this one, right?
So we'll be flying this one on October 7th and 8th.
What is that?
It's a starter. In order to get it started, you would literally have to crank it as a pilot to prime the engine. And you can imagine people lost a lot of fingers and arms and hands because the things go really fast. So this thing, they made this so it hooks up to the prop. Gets it started without even anyone actually having to touch it. The Red Baron, that was his plane.
This one is a radial engine and the other one's a rotary engine. So a rotary engine is kind of unique, and we're not seeing right now, but the propeller doesn't turn, the entire engine moves on the plane.
I think it'd probably be a smaller, little bit bigger. Bigger? It's like,
Oh, this is metal. Yeah. Who makes these?
I think it's somebody in the fighter factory. We have really talented guys in the fighter factory. They're the ones who fix all of the planes, so as you can tell, they have to be really mastered in what they're doing.
Someone just comes up to them and be like, hey, can you make me a dinosaur? Are they working on stuff right now?
Yeah, do a lot of maintenance. Their yearly inspections and stuff like that to make sure the planes are airworthy before they take them up. And like restoration projects on a smaller scale.
The DR1, the red one.
Okay.
That's the one with the rotary engine. See how the engine's pistons exposed?
Yeah.
So that whole engine turns.
What's the benefit of that versus
I don't think there was a benefit. I think that's just an early engine design to see what works. They stopped using them pretty shortly after.
How much do these planes cost?
Did they finish the...
Varied. So some planes are donated. Some planes can cost up to, I'm not sure what the most he has ever spent on one here, but a lot of these planes are valued at between $3 and $5 million each. Particularly when you start talking about the bigger ones, like we're going to show you the Junkers. You've seen ones like the P-51 was in there with the checkerboard nose. They get expensive in a hurry.
Oh yeah. This is the what?
Cottbus, German hangar. This is another structure that was actually taken from Germany and rebuilt here. The initial construction that was done before the war. And this houses our German World War II collection. So you'll see a lot of planes in here that don't look quite like planes. That's because they're experimental aircraft that were built at the end of the war. A lot of
there's
them,
Nazis in
yeah.
this thing.
Yep. As a museum, as an aviation museum specifically, we're focused on telling the technological achievements of the war. It's often a sensitive subject, but for us, it's part of aviation history. But yeah, most of these, so at the end of the war, Germany was getting broken up by Allied bombers. And so a lot of their work went into building experimental aircraft that could destroy those bombers. So almost all of these aircraft here were designed for one purpose, which is to take bombers out of the sky. And they're getting quite creative. The Germans were often not suicide bombers. So they all had deployment systems, so like parachute and ejection seat. They weren't kamikaze like the Japanese air forces were. This one right here is probably, I think is probably the most creditworthy one. It's a 190. It's a combat veteran. What that means is that this was actually shot down during the war by Allied forces. Was fished out of a lake in Norway, I believe.
The marks on the tail, those were the number of, was it planes shot down or killed?
Probably a number of bombers taken out,
Yeah.
planes, yeah. This is a Junkers 52. This one was mostly a cargo carrier or transportation aircraft. Skydiving, parachute troops would be jumping out of this. This is where a paratrooper would jump out of. It's corrugated metal. It's still strong, but it's lighter. So like I said, this building had been brought over from Cottbus, Germany. So it was originally built using prisoner of war labor. So if you look up here on the inside of one of these, this girder up here by this mirror, is actually an inscription by one of the prisoner of war workers who are working here. And it's just a reminder that, what the Germans did and the reason why all the Allied forces pulled together to defeat them. So this aircraft over here, with the camouflage, this is an Italian fighter plane, and it's made by Fiat. So you've probably seen now you can buy Fiat cars. Same company used to build fighter planes for the war against, because Italy was allied with the Germans. And so they fought against the United States and Britain, and this is what they flew.
They paint this themselves.
And so, and you'll see a variety of different paint schemes on these planes. A lot of times, a lot of the markings that are on the planes are so that you can recognize your own plane so you don't shoot down your friends.
What's that one?
So you see this funny looking one?
Yeah, like a UFO.
Another experimental plane. One of the things Germany was facing was a fuel shortage during the war. Fuel and gasoline was hard to come by because of the constrictions of the war. This runs on coal. I don't know how it gets fueled, but where you can see, but this is I think it's an early jet propulsion engine that was meant to run on coal. The Germans were losing the war, so they got creative.
Super creative.
And the Germans were actually the first to build jet engines that were functional. So even when we had P-51 prop planes in the war, they were launching their very first jet fighters.
You think people got the idea of UFOs from this, or they got the idea for this from the UFOs?
I don't know. This is one of the world's first jet engines. This was primarily used for as on the V-1 rocket as the flying bombs that Germany was used against Britain. It was meant to be a missile. So they tried putting it on a plane. I want to say it's an impulse jet, which means you have two settings, on and off. I do not know if this ever flew. This is a cutout of one of the world's first jet engines that was used on a working aircraft. So this right here is an ME-262 jet aircraft. The museum actually does own one of these. It's just not here on property, but this is what the inside of it looks like. This engine could only be used for 20 hours. After 20 hours, it was no good.
What's this?
This one right here, sighting for bombers. They'd scout and sight the bombers, and then they would line up their first spotlight on that bomber and track it. When they sighted it again, they had a second spotlight find it. Once they were able to get 3 spotlights on an aircraft, they knew the distance and the altitude and everything they needed to know to fire the anti-aircraft gun. It's very effective. The US lost a lot of bombers to this.
So this is what they use.
Yep. This is 8mm. If you take away anything, it's that coming to our biplanes and triplanes show is what you should do on October 7th and 8th.
Thank you so
Of
much.
course, not a problem. Biplanes and triplanes, October 7th and 8th.
If you're in the 757 area, you need to check it out.
It's fun, I promise.
So yeah, if you're in the 757 area, you need to check this place out. All the details should be on the description below. That's pretty much it for this vlog. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all go out there and make your mark. Take it easy. Peace.
Come over here and we'll
Just get a shot with you. Hi.